What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. I'm Ivan Calderon, and today we are making a beat. So for a while now, a few of you have been asking me to make more reggaeton tutorials, and I was going to make a brand new beat for you guys, but then I realized that I have this beat in the stash that I really liked that I haven't shown to you guys just yet. Now, I previewed it at the end of my how to make reggaeton tutorial video, which I'll link up top here, but I thought for this one, why not take that beat, kind of break it down and show you guys exactly what I did, so that is what we're doing today. Okay, so jumping into Studio One, before I show you guys what I did, let me play you the beat real quick. Alright, so for this beat I started out with the melodic section, but I'm actually going to show you guys the drums first because they are arguably the most iconic part to a reggaeton beat. Now for the drums, I started out with two kicks, a deeper tom kick and a regular kick, and that sounds like this. Now what I did was I added a third drum to add more of a top end punch and to include some sort of continuity in the mix. Now that third kick sounds like this. So together, kick 1, 2, and 3. Following that, I added a snare. Now the snare sounds like this. And I layered that with another snare. That second snare is this one here. The two layered together. And then both kicks 1 through 3 and the snares create the basic reggaeton cadence that we all know. Now from there, we added the hi-hat, the close hat, which is actually on the upbeat. So if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, the hi-hat is on the upbeat. So 1 and 2 and that kind of starts to create this, the bounce for the beat. From there, I added the accent snare, if you will, and that kind of fills in the gaps a little bit. Finally, for this section, we had the bass. Now together, that first part of the chorus sounds like this. Now, as I showed you guys in the how to make a reggaeton tutorial video, a lot of times in this genre, you will have switch-ups, drum switch-ups more specifically. So for the second part of the chorus, I kept kick 3 and snare 2, and that sounds like this. And from there, what I did was I layered another kick, kick number 4. So we get this. And another snare, so snare number 3, and we get this pattern here. Now for this second section, I dropped out the hi-hat, but we still need something to kind of provide that bounce, that kind of metronome feeling. So what I did was I added the perk, and that sounds like this. Now the last thing that we needed for these drums was some sort of transition between the first part and the second part, and I did that with some tom fills. Now the toms sound like this by themselves. Add a bit of a crash and a riser, and then you get the full transition, which is this here. So then all the drums together, you get this. transition. Now moving on to the melodic section for this beat, I started out with a plugged synth. Now, the actual chord progression for this, I showed you guys how to do that with scalar in that other reggaeton tutorial video, so definitely go watch that to learn it. But all I'm really doing is playing the triad chords with my right hand and then playing bass notes on my left hand to kind of create that bounce. So that sounds like this. From there, I went ahead and I added some pads. Now the first pad is more of a soft pad, and that sounds like this. It's playing the exact same chords as the plucked synth, but obviously more mellowed out. And then from there, I added another pad, more of a synth pad to kind of add some grit and character and texture. So together, the two pads sound like this. And once you add the plucked synth, moving on, the next element was a muted guitar, and that sounds like this. So once we add the plucked synth, the two pads, we get this here. Now the last two things that we needed for this melodic section was some sort of leads. Now for the first lead, I added this guy here. And then I added a synth lead, which kind of complements and accents the first lead, but it also provides its own counter melody. So together they sound like this. And then together, everything that we have so far sounds like this. Now, much like with the drums, I also switched up the second half of the melodic section, and all I did for that was I dropped out the muted guitar and the second lead, the synth lead, and I added some violins. So that sounds like this. Now, once we bring the drums back in, this is the full beat for the chorus. Now, as far as the arrangement goes, I had a 4-bar intro, an 8-bar chorus, an 8-bar verse, a chorus again, verse again, an 8-bar bridge or breakdown, and then 2 choruses at the end. So transitioning again from the chorus into the verse, this is what we got. Now, much like I showed you guys in my last video for arrangement, you want to play around with the dynamic and the energy of a beat to keep it interesting, and you do that by adding things or taking them away. Now, the first thing you'll notice is that going into the verse, I took out the grittier synth pad and I left the soft one, and I also reintroduced the muted guitar. So the instruments, we get this. Notice also that we have no leads besides the top one here, which again provides that sense of familiarity and continuity. Now, as far as the drums go, they stay the same for the first 4 bars, but at the middle of the verse, what happens is I change it up. I did a little roll for the snares, and then I started to add more snare hits, took out all the kicks, and we get this. Now, an interesting thing here is that might sound a little empty to some. It definitely did to me. But what you'll notice is that there might be other elements, maybe in the melodic section, that kind of fill in those gaps. Now, for me, that was the muted guitar. So it sounds a little empty by itself, but once you add the muted guitar, it kind of fills in quite nicely. That's pretty much it. Once we finish out the verse, we go back into the same chorus and right back where we started. But that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you're not already, but I will see you guys on the next one.